G'day folks, it's the Meeple Monkey here again with another Marvel United, or not Marvel United, G.I. Joe Operation Cobra painting stream for you here. I'm so used to saying Marvel United. Yeah, we're back with some more painting, and we're going to do a couple of troopers today, or tonight I should say. Apologies to folks pretty much everywhere in the world. I'm sort of starting this pretty relatively early in the evening for myself, just so I don't have too late a night. But I'm not sure if this is a great time for anyone. I think it's too early for folks in the States, and I'm not sure what time it is in Europe and that sort of thing. But hopefully this will be useful for folks down the track. And if you do join us, welcome. Very happy to have a chat and that sort of thing, as well as we're painting. But otherwise, I hope you can enjoy the stream later on down the track as well. So we're going to get started with a few things here. I've done a little bit of a test run with the Vipers. So I painted up the majority of the squad. Let's see if we can get this guy up on the screen there. There we go. A few days ago, about a week ago now. But I saved myself a few of these guys so we could get them painted now. Last time we did the Cobra Troopers, it was a little bit too... probably too much, I guess. I tried to get like 7 of them done in one go, sort of thing, and it was just probably a little bit too much to sort of bite off there. So I thought let's try just a few of them now. And the other thing is I've used Asurman Blue, I think it is, which is a little bit lighter than the blue. I think it was like a Celestian blue or something like that I used with the Cobra Troopers, which are a bit darker. But I don't mind that that's a little bit different, even though, it's like military and I guess everyone should be wearing the same and that sort of thing. I figure it's going to help me sort of tell the difference between the Cobra Troopers and the Vipers a little bit easier on the battlefield. Like at a glance, one will be quite a little bit lighter as well. So yeah, that's what we're going to do with these guys. So I've got 3 of them left in the squad. So we'll see how we go. I'm not sure if I'll get all 3. It's just still probably quite a lot to paint all at once, but we'll see how we go with that. And I'll put a link in the description, or not a link, but a list in the description video of the video, listing all the colors that I'm using as well. So I'll hold off on sort of describing all of them. G'day, Owen. How are you going? Owen is a fantastic artist, by the way, folks. If you're looking for, especially like a chibi artist, someone who can do like a chibi style, he's very, very cool. Check him out on Fiverr. I think you can find him. And if you want to link any sort of anywhere else we can find you, Owen, let us know. I was just also going to say that yeah, I'll put the list of the paints that we're going to use in the video. I won't go through them all now, just in case I sort of change my mind or make some changes and things like that. I'll hold off until I work out exactly what I did end up using, and we'll put that in there. Speaking of Erwin, I was just about to launch into a celebration, because yesterday, it wasn't today, but yesterday I've finished my very last character for G.I. Joe United, sort of an expansion range. I've been working on like a fan-made range for the Marvel United game based on G.I. Joe. And I say it's the last one I'm making. I love G.I. Joe, so I'll probably end up making more down the track. But Big Head Chibis make some really cool models for G.I. Joe characters that look like in the Marvel United style and that sort of thing as well. And as they were making those, I thought it'd be cool to support that with decks of heroes and bad guys and that sort of thing, and locations and stuff, so you can play with those figures on the table in G.I. Joe United. So I've been making those, and Spirit was the very last hero that we had a model for, that I hadn't made characters for, sort of thing. So I finally finished off Spirit the other day, and yeah, so that now completes the set. I think we've got about 17 heroes all up, including an anti-hero, 6 villains, including the anti-hero, about 12 locations, a whole bunch of challenge modes and things like that, including vehicles and now sort of public service announcement cards and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. So definitely check it out. You can find it on the CMON United Wiki in the homebrew section there in the non-Marvel section. You can also find it on Tabletop Simulator as a mod for the G.I. Joe, or sorry, for the Marvel United game there on Tabletop Simulator as well. So lots of ways you can get it, and the links to all that are on the CMON United wiki page as well. But I wanted to show off some of the cards that I've been making, and Erwin has done all the art on these. So we've got a few here. So we've got, this is the Gung Ho deck here. So you can see the awesome chibi style art there. And if I sort of flick up some cards here, you can see the G.I. Joe sort of, sorry, the Marvel United sort of style of the cards here. And yeah, lots of really cool pictures of Gung Ho here and all these cool abilities and that sort of thing. I'll see if I can find some. We've got Quick Kick. Here's Quick Kick's deck. Considering that Quick Kick was the one that we painted earlier today. So there's all his sort of martial arts style cards and that sort of thing as well. There we go. He's looking very cool. So fantastic art by Erwin there. Let's see if I can pick that up again. Oops, upside down. So yeah, fantastic stuff. So thank you very much, Erwin. These have become some of my favorite cards that I've made, and I'm really enjoying seeing all your art pop on the cards when we get them printed off and that sort of thing as well. So there you go. Oops, got a few of the same art pieces there. So Outback here, one of my faves. So yeah, there's about, like I said, about 17 different heroes we've got now and a whole bunch of villains and stuff. So yeah, some very cool stuff there. So definitely check that sort of stuff out. But yeah, it wouldn't have been possible without yourself, Erwin. So it's very, very cool. Yeah, and I agree, Greg. It's fantastic. So it really suits that style of the United game and helps it sort of mesh in with that game as well. And if you don't have the big head chibis models, which I highly recommend, they're very cool. And if you not a Patreon, you can still access them through I think it's called Colts 3D is a place you can sort of individually sort of download the STL files to print those off, which I think then still sort of supports the artist who made them. If you don't have those, we also have G.I. Joe Operation Cobra. So all these characters I think are featured in the Operation Cobra game too. So you can play United with these figures too, which is really cool. So yeah, just wanted to show those off before we dive into the painting. But we'd since this is a painting stream, we better dive into some painting now. So I've got the 3 characters here. I think what I'm going to do is start with the black and see how like long that takes me to go through like the 3 of them, and then I might sort of adjust my expectations and we'll see if I just paint one of them or all 3 of them sort of thing. But yeah, well, that's not black. That's the grey almost. We've got to make sure I'm paying attention here. So let's check this out. So got Black Legion is the color we're using. If you haven't been following along, I'm doing the painting in contrast paints from Games Workshop or Citadel paints, I think they are. And they're sort of allowing me to get these painted pretty quickly, sort of thing. So that's the name of the game, is to get them table ready, looking cool on the table, but without spending a ton of time getting them done, sort of thing. So I'm hoping I'm keeping this on the screen. I've had a bit of trouble with that first video, sort of remembering to sort of hold these in a position. I think I had the camera zoomed way too far in. So apologies if you can't really make out much detail about what I'm painting here, but hopefully I'm keeping the painting on camera though, as I sort of bring it forward to sort of look at it and inspect it and that sort of stuff. Hopefully I should be able to still keep it on camera. So we're doing the boots here. So we're going to do, so the game plan is to do the boots, some of the straps. He's got a big body vest, like basically his torso, his chest is going to be black. And I think like the strap on his helmet, that's keeping his sort of goggles in place, and that should be that sort of thing. So now I'm painting these boots, but I don't know like exactly what you're supposed to pick out as different and that sort of thing. But on the front of the boots, there's these sort of like plates that I guess you could just paint the whole thing black if you wanted to, but I'm picking them out in grey, which is sort of like a metallic-y looking grey once it dries. So that's the plan. So I don't know if you can see that. Try and hold it up here. So I'm leaving the front there white, so I'm going to go over that with the grey later on, sort of thing, but the boot itself is going to be black. All right. So that's one boot down. Let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. Oops. There we go. And in terms of like making the choices for like, is this a strap? Is this not a strap? What part should I paint here? What color should this be? I've sort of followed a fan named Relic, one of the backers of the game G.I. Joe Operation Cobra, on the Game Found page, posted up like a link to a blog that he does called Relic's No Nonsense blog, I think it is. And yeah, so he's painted a whole bunch. I think he's painted all of his core set, which these Vipers come from. And so I'm basically using his pictures to guide me as to like what these guys should look like and which bits should be black and which bits should be grey and which bits should be blue and that sort of thing. So because if you look up the toys and things, there's all sorts of different and the comics and things, there's all sorts of different pictures of what they look like. So from picture to picture, some of the bits vary and stuff. So I'm just using Relic's awesomely painted models as a bit of a guide. There we go. All right, we're getting close here. So one Cobra Trooper boots are done. And I think what I might do is, as I go through each of these bits, I'll sort of switch to a different trooper just to keep things interesting for me. So yeah, I'll jump onto this next guy, do his boots, and then we'll sort of do the straps for each one and so on and so on. So that's the plan. All right. Painted, so how many? I think there's 8 Vipers all up, so I must have painted 7 of the Vipers the other day off camera. Just sort of getting my head around the color scheme and how I wanted them to look, and yeah, saved the rest. So that's sort of the plan for here on out with the bad guys. Is I'll paint most of the squad off camera, getting my head around, making sure I'm happy with the color scheme, and then I'll leave a few of them that I can paint on stream with you guys, so you can see the process, but hopefully it won't be so long. So here we go. All right. To the tip of this boot. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Do I have that completely painted from all angles? Sometimes you think you've done it and then you spin it around from a vantage point you didn't see before, and all of a sudden there's a big glaring spot you've missed. All right. Second boot for this guy. Let's get, I probably need to shake the bottle up again, or at least wash the brush out occasionally. Got to remember to do that, especially if I'm doing a big area like this black is, quite extensive across them. Just got to remember to sort of wash my brushes out, I guess. Even though apparently you're not really supposed to water these down, these contrast paints. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you're a bit more of a knowledgeable painter, is that just something incorrect that I've picked up somewhere, or are you supposed to not water them down? Because I think it's to do with like they're already fairly chemically sort of balanced or whatever to be pretty runny. So I think if you sort of water them down, it sort of messes with that and they could separate a bit too much or something. There we go. Right, is that complete? I think so. Just sort of touch up a couple of areas there, finish off that boot. All right, there we go. And final guy. At least we can say Nothing else. We got 3 pairs of boots done. All right. Extra boot here. There we are. So we were talking about, oh, by the way, what paint do you use? Erwin saying, can it be used to paint, oh, Gundam? I guess so. What I'm using is the Citadel brand. So I feel like they're probably going to be pretty expensive for what they are. But I sort of have a history. I worked at Games Workshop, was into the Warhammer hobby for many, many years and that sort of thing. And I just sort of have always used Citadel paints and am used to them and enjoy using them and that sort of thing. So I'm not very knowledgeable in terms of the larger world of paints and that sort of thing. But what I will say is that they do seem to work pretty nicely. And what I've heard since sort of like getting back into painting over the years and discovering these contrast paints, I think there's also something called speed paints. I don't know if they're the same thing. And I think there's a company called Army Builder or Army, is it Army Builder or something like that, that have like an equivalent sort of, or, you know, a similar range to these. So I think people either use these Citadel contrast paints or they might use Army Builder speed paints or something. But I would imagine that you can paint anything with these. I'm not sure about like the material. So like, so yeah, there you go. Citadel is great paint, but so pricey. There you go. So I'm not too far off the mark there. Is Army Builder, do they make speed paints? Greg, you might know. Is that an equivalent thing, but is it a bit cheaper? Like is Army Builder cheaper than Vallejo? Oh, Vallejo brand is a great alternative. There is also, oh yeah, there you go, Army Painter. Are Army Painter and Vallejo cheaper than Citadel generally, but for a similar sort of effect? So that might help Erwin out. And then the other thing I was going to say about Gundam is, like, I guess sometimes the plastic that you paint on might sort of suit certain paint styles or certain things better. I would imagine with Gundam, like, you've got large flat surfaces, right? And this speed paint stuff, this contrast stuff, I think is great for, like, you can just sort of, it's like a big wash or an ink, and you just like run it over a whole area and it fills in all the recesses and things like that. But over large, wide, flat areas, I don't think it looks so good because it sort of pulls funny and that sort of thing as well. Again, I could be getting that wrong, but so like for, I don't tend to use the Army Painter stuff on, say, my Marvel United miniatures, the big chibi ones with the big, you know, lots of large round surfaces and things like that, because I don't think it would look as nice on those. Or, you know, they really do suit like a more traditional painting style. So yeah, sorry, they are definitely cheaper. Quality is not as good as Citadel. Okay, there you go, but just fine for beginners. And maybe, Greg, you could help Erwin out there, or someone in the comments, if you know a bit more about like what the material of Gundam models might be, because my memory of Gundam models is they're not quite the same plastic as, like, they come on the sprues and stuff. So I know a lot of Citadel models and stuff are on sprues, but the plastic sort of, in my mind, feels a bit different to the sort of like the plastic you get with a lot of miniatures these days. So just not sure if like the same paints are going to be ideal with Gundam stuff. But because I've built a few Gundam in my day, but because the Gundam models were always kind of like the plastic was all like colored, and I kind of didn't feel the need to paint them. But certainly I'm sure painters could make the Gundam models go from looking awesome to like looking like amazingly awesome, because I'm sure there's some really talented folks out there. And everything looks great painted, right? Like everything looks better painted, no matter what sort of level of painting you do. It's always going to add that little bit more pop to it. Okay, I think I've done 3 pairs of boots. Greg says the plastic doesn't matter as long as you use a good primer. Well, yeah, so undercoating. Okay, so the undercoat, it doesn't. As long as you get the primer on there, that gives you what your paint's going to stick to, right? That's what the paint actually sticks to. Yeah. Yes. See, painting's changed so much anyway since when I was actually sort of painting back in the day. All this, all these different primer. I just used to add there was a black undercoat or a white undercoat, right? Your Skull White or your Chaos Black. Now there's all these different ones, and you're supposed to spray them black and then spray them from one direction, white, and then hit them with these army painter things, and all sorts of, yeah, there's lots of different things that I sort of haven't really kept up with. There was a whole like world of spray, like what's it, air gunning of them or whatever it was called, and that's just sort of like not my. I put my tissues a little bit too far away here. There we go. All right, let's keep going with this black. Now, what are we going to do here? We're going to do some straps on the legs. Let's do that. Yep. All right, straps on the legs. I feel like we're going to be going with this black for quite a while. All right. So behind the knees, he's got knee pads. So I probably should have held up and just shown you what we've done so far. Once I've done this guy's knee pads, I'll hold one of these guys up to show that we've basically done all the boots. There we go. Black strap behind knee pad number 1. And behind knee number 2. Whoopsie. There we go. Now, all right. So I'll just hold him up just to show you. So where we're up to, we've done basically, we've done the boots essentially on all these guys, and I'm just starting to do the straps. So he's got some straps there behind the knees, and he's also got a side arm. So I'm going to paint that. I think I paint. Let me have a look at my test model here. Yes, I did paint that black. So I'll paint the little holster black. There we go. So let's get these legs done if we can. And the pants are quite involved because he's got these boots that have different sort of metal plates. Then he's got the holster and the strap around the holster, around the leg. Then the pants themselves are blue, but they've got these like red patches, red panels. So there's actually quite a lot of sort of jumping back and forth between colors to get all the pants done, and the knee pads and the plates on the boots are sort of like a metallic color as well, or in my case, gray. So they're quite a bit more involved than the Cobra troopers, who were sort of a bit more just sort of one big uniform color sort of thing for a lot of it. All right. Am I happy with that? Let's just get a bit of more depth on that strap there. So that's why I'm a bit concerned, even though I've only left myself 3 of these guys, I could kind of see them taking as much time as 7 of the Cobra troopers. All right, so 1. And let's do the straps on our good friend Viper number 2 here. I remember using, Greg says, remember using the old Tester brand. Model paint in the little glass bottles. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I do. I remember seeing Vallejo paints actually, because like I said, I only really ever used the Citadel stuff. But I do remember going to like a hobby store, and besides the Citadel stuff, they had these Vallejo things, and they were, I can't remember if they were in like glass pots, or I feel like they were in like they in like little metal tins or something like that? I don't know. Okay, that guy's straps are done. It's looking good. All right, let's do his holster. Hopefully I can get a bit faster with each one. And that'll make up for my slowing down when I'm talking. All right. Yeah, it's kind of the fun of like when you get into this batch painting thing. Once you get comfortable with where the bits and pieces are on the model, once you sort of get one or two underway, if you get into the swing of it, you can kind of get a bit of a groove on. And yeah, paint them a bit faster. See if I can think of any more painting cliches. There we go. Nice. Yeah. But I'm very excited to have these paints to sort of like help me speed through this collection, and then I'll be able to play Operation Cobra with like a fully painted set, and that'll just be so fun because I don't think I've ever really had that before. I've never had a set. Like I've painted a fair few Marvel United characters and that sort of thing, but yeah, it's definitely not a whole set. So this is kind of fun getting this done. All right, that's number 2, and strap time for our good pal here, Viper number 3. Yep, there we go. And he's got a strap behind this knee as well. And yes, there we are. Such a cool design, the Vipers. Very iconic if you're, from this vintage. If you you enjoyed your G.I. Joe stuff back in the day, it's a very cool design. There we go. Get that strapped on his holster. Paint that side. Nicely done. All right. And yeah, nice. Now I guess I shouldn't be talking about it so early in my painting of G.I. Joe Operation Cobra, but if I do get through this collection, am I going to be tempted to sort of paint up other board game sets? Like Reichbusters Reloaded has some fantastic models of a very similar sort of style, I guess, to the Joe sort of range, and they have some very fantastic sculpts, just like the G.I. Joe range here. So I'm like, oh, maybe I could paint that stuff as well. But it's like, hold your horses. There we go. All right, well, that's looking good. I think I've done the straps on those guys. So now I'll just wash my brush out a little bit here. And we're up to, we're still going with the black, but I'm sort of thinking, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do the straps on the helmet. No, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that because I feel like I'm going to be touching their heads quite a bit when I'm sort of painting. So I might leave that till last. So what I'm going to do now, oh, hold on. I think I've just probably didn't dry that brush out enough. So let me just, there we go. I'm going to do the vest. So this is a fairly big area. This is one of the biggest areas that we've got here with the Vipers. So if you have a look here, we've got to be careful not to knock that paint over. He's got big sort of body vest, big armor vest sort of thing on his back. And I've got to be a bit careful trying to get in there on the front. But luckily, being black, if I miss a few spots and stuff. And then the gun itself is sort of like a dark color. So if I get a few missing bits, I can kind of paint over them and that sort of thing. But yeah, this is a fairly large area. Yeah, so if I can get this done, then I'm looking good. And obviously blue is probably the biggest area. So yeah, let's see how we go. All right. Painting black. Hey, where did I do these straps? What did I do here? Oh yeah. Okay. So I can continue this bit. That's going to be black. That's also black. I've just got to be careful. There's sort of like some shoulder straps that are going to have some metal clasps and some red. The straps themselves will be red. So I've got to avoid that. And he's also got like a bit of a scarf thing around his neck that I want to avoid as well. And the scarf, I couldn't really, it's sort of like a grey colour, and I don't really have a grey. What is it, Apothecary White is really just a white, so that doesn't show up like I want it to. And so therefore, I had to, on my other test, on the other models, I did, I sort of watered down a grey colour. I figured, yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. And it seems to do all right. And I thought I can get away with this because it's not like a huge part of the model. But then I ended up doing the same thing on the Techno Vipers, but that's like almost their entire uniform. So yeah, I'm not really using the proper painting method for them. So I'm hoping there's only 6 of them, so I'm hoping I can sort of do that pretty consistently and they'll look all right. All right, so painting the vest on the front here. He's got some pouches hanging off his belt here. We're going to make them black. Speaking of the belt, we've got to continue that around here. There we go. Try not to get it spilling onto the pants. Trousers. All right, try not to get it on the arm. Because the arm, the arm, like the gauntlets are going to be red. So I'd really like to avoid spilling any black into that area if I can, because that's going to be hard to show red over the top of that. Although I can always go back and hit them with a bit of white before doing that. All right, let's continue with the vest around the front here. All right. Boy, it's quite a bit of black there. Let's just be careful, not overdo it. Paint the vest in between the sleeve of the arm and the shoulder strap. All right, now let's see here. This is where it gets a bit tricky. Is sort of painting in between the arms and the weapons and the chest. All right. Boy, oh boy. Now he's also got that scarf on the front of the vest. So I have to be careful not to get that if I can. He's also got these like grenades or something on the front of his vest, which I want to avoid painting as well. Okay, which I think I've done a pretty good job of avoiding all of that at the moment. So let's see, look at him from this angle. I think there's no big glaring white patches. That's the thing that I'm used to, undercoating everything in black. That's what I used to do back in the day. But with these contrast paints, the whole trick is that you sort of paint them directly over the white, and then they sort of fill in all the recesses and do all the highlighting and stuff for you. But you've got to paint them white. And so in an area like this, if you miss any spots, that's going to show up really obviously. And so, yeah, I've got to be careful with that. But I think he's looking all right now. I think he's all done. And I've got the front, got the back. Yep, got the belts. All right, that's one done. Well, there you go. That wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Let's do the next guy. Okay. Let's see. All right. I like the back of his vest because there's like nothing in the way. I can just paint and spread this paint for days. Okay, let's get around here to his belts. Okay, spread that out. Also, that first one was sort of like really trying to identify and remember which bits were black again and that sort of thing. So hopefully this next guy won't take as long because I'll be a little bit more confident about which bits I'm picking out here. But I've got to try not to get careless because, again, if I am nicking bits that I want to paint red later on and that sort of thing, it's just going to sort of waste a bit of time having to go back over and pick those out. There we go. Okay, let's get around between that arm there. Okay. Avoid the scarf. That's the scarf there, I think. Because of these pouches, the way they sort of get in the way, it's very easy to think you're going to avoid something and then you just accidentally bump into the pouch or something as you're painting around it and your brush knocks into an area that you didn't mean to and it's like, ah, dang it. All right, so. And what's funny is even though these guys are all the same sculpt, because the arms holding the gun in front of them are kind of like those are separate pieces that are glued on. Even just the slight variation in angle when those are sort of assembled can create quite a different experience painting model to model. Like this guy's got a lot more room on this side for me to get my brush in compared to the previous guy. So this guy's actually being a bit more cooperative in that sense. But then there's other areas like down here along his belt and stuff that are tougher to get into now. Okay. All right. Do this pouch here. Hope this is still showing up on camera. Yeah, there we go. I've got to be careful not to bring him too close to me. All right, let's get that belt done. How's that looking? Yeah, okay. Not too bad. And slide up under the arm here. Get the front of the vest as much as we can. There we go. Which paint have I still got on the palette here? Yeah, there we go. All right, let's see. Down to right angle. Rightio. Okay, that's. Oop, I need a bit more black here. Is this number 2 or number 3? Oh, he's number 2. I was getting excited. I'm like, wow, cool. I've done all the vests, but nope, I've got one more to go. That's all right. Just got to remind myself I've got another 7 of these guys already completed. So that's pretty cool. Haha. All right. Yep, he's looking good. I think his vest is done. We'll put him over here. One more. One more. All right. Let's get this belt done here. Let's be super methodical. Do this side of the vest. Whoa. Kind of slipped there, but luckily I didn't accidentally hit anything with the paintbrush, so that's good. Okay. Looking good there. Let's do the side area of his torso. Come at it from a different angle. Get the tops of the pouches. There we go. That's looking good. All right, let's go. Let's keep going under here. Between the chest and the gun. Continue his belt. Get the buckle. And yep, that's looking good. All right. I was very excited to get my first Joe done today, though. I do like doing these Cobra guys because the models are just as good as the Joes, right? But it was pretty good feeling getting a Joe done. So glad Quick Kick is all complete now. Kind of excited to do Stalker too. Try out some of those greens. There we go. Let's try and get, all right. I was on a bit of a roll there. I was just sort of like picking out bits pretty easily. But now I've kind of hit a bit of a roadblock because everything else now, roadblock, see, get it? But everything else now is a little bit trickier because there's bits and pieces in the way all over the place now. Arms and guns and tight spaces. All right. Let's get a bit more paint happening here. All right, let's get in there. What about over here? From this angle. That's funny. Then in different daylight, like different light conditions, you sort of notice bits that you didn't see before either. All right, but I think we're looking pretty good here. Let's go around the shoulder, in between the strap and the sleeves. Yep. Let's do the other side. Okay. Whoa. Careful. Careful, careful. Don't be hasty. All right. And come back around here. And let's get up here a little bit further towards this scarf area. There we go. All right. Am I happy with that? Is that good? I think so. Whoop, there's a little bit of white I can see in there. Fix that up. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good though. Nice. All right. So last little bit though, we've got some black to finish off the strap on their helmet. So they've got these goggles resting on the top of their helmet. So we'll just go around and fill that in before we move on to the next color. Okay, that's one. Which could very well be blue, I don't know. I feel like it's another big area, so I probably want to tackle it sooner rather than later. And it's a fairly, well, it's not that dark, is it? Because it's a light blue, but I feel like it's probably the one to do. If I remember back to when I was doing these guys before, I think I did the blue before I went back with the red. So that's probably going to be the plan here. All right. I think it's pretty good. I think this guy's strap, I think I've done that way too much paint there with that one. So I'll have to be a little bit careful with the next one, trying to be a little bit more conservative. Then I'll show you guys a progress update here, where we're up to. Hoping I haven't missed anything in terms of the black. Can't think of any other areas that I did black on the other guy. Okay, so let's wash the brush out. There we go. Let's dry out the bristles. And let's have a quick little look here. So you can see I've done the, oopsie, oh gosh, done the front, so I've done the torso. You can see the straps around the legs and stuff, the boots, just around the top of the helmet there as well. So that is black. And then let's have a look at the actual finished product. So you can see that's kind of what that's going to look like in amongst all the other colors. And then you can kind of see that gray I was talking about with the scarf there. But now we're going to do blue. So you can see we've got the pants, we've got the shirt sleeves, got the helmet essentially. But with the pants, I don't know if you notice it, there's some patches there with the red on the outside of the thighs and on the inside of the thighs as well. So we're going to have to leave some of that area white. All right, so let's see how we go here. Blue, Asurman Blue it is. Asurman, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Some sort of Eldar character, I think he was, wasn't he? I think so. Now let's see how this blue is going to look. All right, what are we looking for here? So behind the, going behind the knees, above the boots. All right. There we go. Looking good there, looking good. Another one here. And behind this knee pad. Okay, try and make sure I don't leave any white in between, like the boots and the pants, bottom of the pant legs and stuff. I think I might just try and pick out a little bit of blue in between the knee pad and the top of the boot, just to give a bit more color there. And then, yeah, that just looks nice. Okay, now let's see. The pants, I've got to be careful here. So I've got to remember where the red goes. So front of the crotch there. Let me see how I did this. Okay, front of the crotch, yeah, okay. So above the holster strap, at the front of the crotch, it's all blue. And then on the other side, though, where there's no strap, pretty much the red patch starts on the inside of the thigh pretty much straight away there. Whoopsie. And then where does this red pad? Oh gosh. Ooh, that was close. Oh gosh. All right, I need to put this guy somewhere else. When I go to grab him, I'm not going to knock over a paint pot. Whew. I'm very lucky the paint pot landed resting on another paint pot, so it didn't totally spill over and have blue go everywhere. Okay, so where does that? Okay, so that red patch starts about halfway along the pockets there. All right. My goodness, careful, careful. Ugh, almost a disaster. All right, so around about there. Okay. We're going to come down here. All right, to the top of the knee pad. There we go. We've got our pouch here on the front of the leg. All right. Now, the back is back pockets are all blue. There we are. And that pouch area goes to about there, and he's got a patch around the inside of the leg seam there as well. Right. Let's see. Then it goes to the top of the pocket. There we go. Around the handle, pistol grip, and down this side of the pants, this pant leg. All right, it's coming back to me now where all these bits are. Okay. Front of the pocket. That's looking good. All right. Sorry, this probably isn't the most interesting conversation, but I'm just trying to remind myself what all these bits are, because I kept getting caught out when I was painting these guys before, like accidentally painting over the where it's supposed to be red and that sort of thing as well. So, alrighty then. So that's looking pretty good. I think that's all the red bits that need to be done. So let's move on to another trooper. Yeah. All right. So I have a few miniatures you could paint for me. Oh, there you go. Woody the Destroyer says, I have a few miniatures I could paint for you. Yeah, just a few. Just a few. All right. Yeah. So, or you could paint for me, I should say. Yeah. Well, as long as you don't back too many more big miniature Kickstarters, which should be pretty manageable. What's it called? The Cthulhu Death May Die stuff should be pretty easy to paint because it's pretty much just all green, right? Green and brown. There we go. Just the top of the pant leg there. And all right. Go around this knee pad. So already we're flying along at a rate of knots. Okay. This guy is hopefully going to be a lot quicker. What else have we got to paint? We've got to paint the blue sleeves. And we're going to paint the helmets too. All right, that's all doable. No. Is it doable before bedtime? That's the question. All right. Okay. Some blue here. Make sure I spread that out. Spread it out all down the legs here, so plenty of paint. Yeah, this contrast stuff really spreads quite nicely. I've got to remember to sort of probably make more use of that. Not have to load quite so much up each time, or at least before I go back to reload, I should really try and get rid of more of it off my brush, I guess. But it's all good still. With experience, I'll get better at it, I think. It's kind of like learning a new style of painting. I did a few of these army paint things back when I was doing Marvel Zombies too. That's kind of what got me started collecting some of the paints for that. And then, because I started with that, what's that set called? The Heroes Resistance set. And that was fun. And I thought, yeah, these army painters, these would be great. And then like when the actual Kickstarter thing arrived with the full Marvel Zombies range, I was like, oh, that's a lot of models, even with army painters. I don't know if I'm going to get through all that. So I kind of like backed off a little bit. Right. Is he done? I think he's kind of done. I'll just do a little bit in there, in between the gun holster. Yeah, because all the rest of that's going to be red. Okay, and let's see, who's this guy? He's blue, so I've got to get this guy done. All right, here we go. Getting confused with which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. Okay, so we'll start down here. This is the last one. Getting their pants done. Okay. Around the top of the boots there. And another one. Top of the boots. There we go. He's an Irish Viper. Top of the morning. All right, and we are all done there. Alrighty then. So hopefully this is, even if you can't see the much of what's going on here with my painting, hopefully these videos do show you that if you have a collection of, whether it's Cthulhu Death May Die or G.I. Joe Operation Cobra or any other maybe miniatures game, or any other collection of miniatures, I guess, these army painter or contrast, I should call them, Citadel contrast paints, or speed paints, I think, from the other brands. They really do make it possible to get a collection done pretty quickly. So yeah, if you've ever thought, oh man, I'd really love to have like a painted set, it is possible. Because this is now one full squad of Vipers. Once I have this done, there'll be one full squad of Vipers. I've already got one full squad of the Cobra Troopers done. I've got the Cobra Officer done as well, although I didn't paint him on camera. But I used him as a test piece for the retro Cobra Trooper because he looks like he's got a very similar uniform to them. So I'm going to paint them the same way I did him. And I've got one of the Red Ninjas done. I've got one of the Techno Vipers done. So I'm sort of flying through them. And we've got our first Joe done today as well, with Quick Kick. So yeah, it hasn't been very long since they arrived, only about a week or so ago. I think 2 weeks now. And what with, in addition to like filming and doing videos and like gameplay videos, I should say, I've managed to get that many models painted, which is pretty good. But I should also thank my wife for giving me some time to paint them and thank my kids for being very cooperative as well. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, he is just about, let's just touch that up there. Yeah, he's just about done too. All right, so time to do the sleeves, I think. Let's do the sleeves. Stream is good company as I work on my terrain for another tabletop game. And oh, hold on, I'm missing, let's see. Woody says, too late, I already did. Oh yeah, backing more. Well, there you go, more miniatures for us to paint. And then Greg saying he's working on terrain for another tabletop game. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad this this stream is hopefully nice and relaxing for you and just giving you something to listen to while you're working and keeping you motivated. Oh, now I've got to be careful here because I've just started painting down his sleeve and then I realized he's got gauntlets that are supposed to be red, so I've got to be careful here. I should have a look. So you can see they kind of look like just big gloves that go right up his forearm there. So let's just be careful here. Yeah, oh well, that's all right. I can fix some of those areas up with a bit of white before tackling that. I think that's probably not too bad. All right, so that sleeve's done. Just got to get it on the inside here. There we go. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask what's the terrain that you're painting up? What tabletop game is that? Like when you say a tabletop game, not like a board game as such, but more like like a Warhammer or Star Wars Legion or something like that. Because yeah, I must admit, making the terrain for those games can be just as interesting and fun a hobby in itself. Like learning the skills to flock all the stuff and carve out topography and that sort of stuff using styrofoam and hot wire cutters and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure yeah, that was back in the day, so I'm sure there's all sorts of new equipment and techniques and stuff. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you're working on. So yeah, let us know, Greg, if you want to in the comments there. That's good. All right. Now, where does his sleeve end here? Oh, maybe that isn't. Oh, okay. So I don't think I actually went far enough on his sleeve. I think I thought I had gone over the red area, but I think that's actually, that doesn't start till this point here. So, oh, that's good. That's actually means I don't have to spend as much time going back over with the white. If I can avoid that, that'd be great. Okay, so yes, sleeves are done for this guy, I think. Do I need to get up under between? No, okay, we're all good there. All right, sleeve number 2, or model number 2, I should say. All right, let's just make sure I know where this gauntlet ends. There we go, that's better. And spread this all over the rest of his sleeve. There we are. Fantastic. Yeah, with the Viper's visor as well, I'm using a metallic rather than one of these speed paints as well. I've got like I think it's a Runefang Steel or something like that. Just makes it look a little bit lighter and nicer. And then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of a washed out grey just to line some of the edges and stuff. But apart from that, these army, these contrast paints are pretty good. This, yeah, so. Okay, so let's see. I've done now one half of his sleeves. Let's do the other one. Okay. There we go. But the Cobra officer, Cobra Trooper officer that I did, I've used this lighter blue as well, so I'm going to plan on painting those Cobra Troopers this lighter blue. So again, hopefully I'll be able to tell the difference between retro Cobra Troopers and Cobra Troopers on the battlefield. I know they also have like different guns and stuff as well, but I just figure having some extra things to sort of help differentiate them will be good. Okay. Whoopsie, 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 dropped him. Good thing I didn't drop the paint pot, that's the main thing. Okay, let's just get a bit more blue in there. I think he's looking all right. So, final Viper for the sleeves at least. And then we'll go back with the helmet. And this has been quite quick. I don't know. I have to look back on the video and see, when did I start painting blue and when did I finish? But I feel like this blue has been quicker than the black. The black took quite a while to get all through the vest, but I feel like this blue has probably been quite long trying to get the trousers done and trying to paint around those different spots there. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see which actually took me longer, the blue or the black. And I don't know which part I just got more distracted talking as well. Okay. But that's sort of part of the fun, right? It's sort of, I'd rather be having fun and talking than not, so that's not a problem. Let's just get this sorted in here. There we go, spread that out. There we go. All right, and just down in front of the gun, if I can. It's handy having the black vest in there now because I can be a bit messy in there and it's not really going to show up over the black vest. Okay. Any bits I've sort of missed in between, I can check out in daylight hours a little bit later on and see if I've got any glaring spots, but that's all done there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to wash my brush out. Oh, styrofoam rocks. Let's see. Oh, got to catch up on Greg's given us some responses here. But I'll just wash this out just before I finish off the blue, just because I feel like I've been using the blue for a fair bit there. Miniature skirmish game called Pulp Alley. Okay, you can use any minis or theme you want. Military fan. Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of like a universal system, or even GI Joe. You assign appropriate stats and abilities. Oh, cool. So it's kind of like gives you a system, and then you can kind of almost like homebrew, fan make your own sort of things to go in there. That's pretty cool. Pulp Alley, making styrofoam rocks for jungle terrain in Indiana Jones style adventure. Oh, awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I could totally see that. You could definitely shoehorn in like GI Joe stuff into that same sort of style terrain and that sort of thing as well. That's pretty cool. It reminds me some guys I know a little while back got into some sort of car game, like where it had rules for like a miniatures sort of skirmish game using cars. I think the theme was like Mad Max style, post-apocalyptic, running around in the desert, blasting each other, looking for fuel and that sort of stuff. And again, it was kind of like they had this universal sort of rule system, and then it kind of let you. I don't think there were any official models. I don't know about that, but the idea was that you just took Matchbox cars and all sorts of things and like converted them up and bodged them together and could play. Car Wars, is that what it was called? Yeah. So like it kind of sounds like a similar concept where it's like they kind of give you free reign to kind of use your imagination. They give you a basic framework, and then you kind of create the game that suits your taste, sort of thing. Yeah, that's awesome. It's kind of like ever since I've sort of got into the home brewing and fan making characters and stuff for Marvel United, both Marvel characters and characters from different universes and stuff. It's just kind of like opened up this whole new world for me of like how fun it is to sort of create your own games. It's like, for so long I was like, I wish there was like a good One Piece game, and then it's like, oh wow, like I can make my own One Piece characters for Marvel United, and now I'm playing a game that I love with characters that from other series that I never thought I'd get a good game with and stuff. And same with G.I. Joe and that sort of thing now. And so one of the things about this G.I. Joe Operation Cobra game now is I really love how inspiring all the missions are that the OC team have created, and how like story forward the missions are. And it's a lot about sort of just having fun with like the narrative that the scenario creates for you. So I really like the idea that we can start using the existing map board tiles and things that they've given us, and use some of their missions as a bit of a springboard to create our own missions and stories, and go back to the comics and look for inspiration and stuff there, and think back to when you were playing with your own Joes and stuff in the backyard and in the living room and all that sort of stuff, and the different adventures you had there, sort of recreating some of those stories. So yeah, it's kind of fun, that whole idea of getting to take part in the design process of these games as well. There we go. One helmet done. At least the blue part. Oops, let's see if I can get. Oh gosh, I'm really bad at this. I can't coordinate my hands. There we go. Now they've got no light there. Boy, that's terrible. There we go. There we go. All right, one helmet done. 15 minutes to get him in focus, but that's pretty good. 3 minutes to paint him, 15 minutes to get him in focus. You could just kit bash all your Hot Wheels. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. So very cool. Very similar. All right, so he's done with his helmet. So we'll put him up here. All right, I've got to start thinking about what's the next color I'm going to do. I've done all the blue. There we go. Yeah, having some actual like 3D terrain for this would be awesome. So if you're doing like jungle terrain and that sort of thing, that'd be cool to sort of incorporate even into the actual the G.I. Joe Operation Cobra game itself. I know I was watching some video the other day, and one of the G.I. Joe fans obviously has a bit of a background in sort of making his own 3D printed stuff, and I think he's planning on sort of taking the existing tiles and making up as much sort of 3D elements for it as he can. So like if a thing shows like a foliage or whatever, or trees, or sort of sculpting that up, that's pretty cool. I know I love the Reichbusters Reloaded doors, and I think the doors in what's the other one? Massive Darkness. Those 3D sculpted doors are very fun, and I have used those when playing G.I. Joe Operation Cobra, like off camera. And even just those doors add such a fun element 3D sort of look to the game, give it a bit more depth and stuff. It's really fun. I haven't used that on camera for the playthroughs though, because I figure they might be a little bit too bulky and sort of block a view to the models and stuff a bit for folks watching at home. So, but yeah, it is pretty fun. All right. So that is another helmet done. I just get underneath that there. Yeah. All right. That's 2 helmets. Final helmet. Okay. Then are we going to do red? Or are we going to do the metallic stuff? I might do red, I think. Let's see. There we go. Underneath the chin there a little bit on the side. Let's get the back of the helmet. All right. Oh, looking good. I want to sort of make sure I don't go into the area where the scarf is. All right. I'm not sure if that's what you call the thing they've got wrapped around their necks, but I guess it's like a scarf. There we go. Nice. Okay. Well, that is looking pretty good. Yes, yes, yes. All right, looking good. All right, wash out the brush. Start thinking about this red area that I'm going to paint up too. I'm on a roll, that's right. G'day, Dan. There we go. This is what, my third stream? Yeah, third stream, I think. Third painting stream. I thought, you know what? I wanted to get, the plan was to do these Vipers today, but then I was like, I really want to paint a Joe as well. And I thought maybe I can like do a quick job and paint one Joe earlier in the day, and then I can do some Vipers this evening, and that's kind of how it's played out. So I don't know if I'll be this productive every weekend, but yeah, I want to try and get something done each weekend if I can now. All right, let's see here. We said red. Ooh, now should I do red or should I do the dark for this gun here? Interesting. Let's do red. Okay, I'm more excited about doing the red, so we'll see how this goes. Ooh, I've had a few near misses where I've sort of dropped paint pots and things like that. So I don't want to get in too much of a roll here. Okay, careful, slow it down, slow it down. So if we have a look at the model, if I keep showing the screen and doing a very bad job focusing. Whoa. But you can see I'm aiming to do these little grenades on the front of the vest, the 2 gauntlets. There's some shoulder straps there with red as well. And then you can see some patches on the inside and outside of the legs there. So that's what we're aiming for. So let's have a look here. Red. All right. Let's have a look. How about yourself, Dan? Are you painting anything at the moment? I know you sort of said you were, well, I think you said you were not quite breaking things out again, but you had like that table full of, I can't remember that, because you had that table full of stuff that was like half done, and you had Galactus was on a bit of a roll. But have you made any more progress since then? Oh, there we go. Because that's a daunting project itself, right? The Galactus. Oh boy. Now I'm having to be careful because I've got areas that I've already painted and I don't really want to have to go back over those. And the areas are still some fairly tight little areas that I have to be careful going over. Okay. That's looking all right. I've got to make sure I don't leave any little gaps where those little annoying white spots of the undercoat show through as well. Speaking of which, let's just hit that area there. Okay, so we've done the inside of the leg patches there. Let's do the outside. Whoops, yep, that's not too bad. Okay, and then on this side, on top of the pouch. No progress, that's right. That's kind of usually what it's like here too, but I've been, like you said, I've been on a roll this weekend, so but yeah, these what are they called? Contrasts certainly help with that. All right, so we've got his pants are done, which means, you know what, let's keep going. I like this method of jumping back and forth between the characters. It just helps me feel like I'm getting further along than maybe I am. There we go. Let's make sure I got plenty of coverage there. These Vipers are very cool. They've got so much cool detail on their uniforms. So even like the basic troopers are just very cool looking in this game. I think as a kid, that was one of the things I loved about G.I. Joe was like how fun all the different Viper designs were. So like it not only was it fun collecting all the good guys, it was a ton of fun collecting all the bad guy models too, which was great for our parents having to pay for all the all the toys. Awesome. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think his pants are done as well. He's all good. All right. And last one. And then maybe let's do the... Oh, hold on. I've done him. So is it this one? Yep. Then maybe let's do the gauntlets. There we go. And then there. Careful along the seams there. Don't get too ahead of myself. I don't want to splash all over the trousers. I've already painted the blue. Ooh, I've kind of gone over that strap there a bit, haven't I? Oh well. Can hit that with the... Actually, I might even be able to hit that with the grey when I go back into the knee pad. All right. I'll tell you what, it's still, even if I don't get all of these guys done tonight, I'm hoping I can, but it's still so much more progress than I usually would make with my models. I wish I'd had this stuff back in the day when I was painting Warhammer figures, getting those armies done. Although I do admit I did enjoy the style that I was using back in those days, so it just wasn't conducive to painting whole armies, but I did enjoy the look of the figures when they were done. Yeah, as much as this army painter stuff is very cool for getting stuff done quickly, it's if you want your really nice effects, you know, you can't really just do all these shortcuts. All right, that's cool. Yes. All right, so it's time to do the gauntlets, gloves. I got unmatched. Oh, TMNT. Yep. And the team time crashing. Yeah, for zombie side last. Okay, cool. So I did prime a bunch of turtles. Yeah, nice. I really like the turtles in the zombie side white death thing. They're very fun to use. And I must admit, I do because unmatched is I've even done a playthrough or two here on the channel, and I was very much excited about the idea that there was a cooperative version of it, and I did purchase the cooperative game, because as much as I do like it, and there's that sort of solo mode that is on BGG, being a competitive first and foremost sort of game, it just never was going to get my full attention probably, and yeah, it just wasn't quite hitting the mark for me. So I really liked the idea of the cooperative one, but unfortunately, I just didn't. At the time, for some reason, I couldn't sort of justify backing the turtles. I think it was a campaign, wasn't it? Like a Game Found thing or a Kickstarter. But if I was going to get into Unmatched, I think that's because I just the characters in the other one just weren't really exciting me, and especially the bad guys, like what is it, like the Mothman and that sort of thing, like whatever that pulp horror sort of thing is just nothing that I grew up liking or sort of gravitate to. So yeah, the Turtles one I'm way more excited for, but now I'm like, oh man, I've got all this. Do I really want to invest more in a game that I still haven't really ever clicked with? So I'm like, but it's Turtles. So maybe Dan, you'll have to let me know how you like it. Like, have you played it? Or oh no, you probably haven't, right? Because if you're painting them, you probably haven't played with them yet because you tend to like holding off and playing with painted minis. But if you have played it, let me know. Or when you do play it, yeah, let us know as well. I'm not sure. Yeah. Which ones are you going to paint first? The the time crash ones or the unmatched? I better wash out this brush a little bit before I get too carried away with the red. Don't spill this red paint. Okay, how are these gloves looking? Now I've got to be careful with these gloves too because I could be getting into areas that I'm going to overlap with some other stuff that I've already painted here. So let's just not be hasty. Luckily, a lot of it's sort of dark around here, so it's not going to show up too badly anyway. All right. Let's paint that glove there. Bottom of that hand. All right. Let's get a little bit more red. I kind of feel like I want to just hit the top of that. Just doesn't seem to want to take any paint there. Maybe that's telling me, hey, this is not meant to be red. Okay. Oh, yep, I can get around the back there. Careful, careful. All right. And I've got to do red. I may as well do red on the little grenades here, get that done whilst I'm doing these gloves. And I may as well also hit the straps, and then I'm pretty much done with this guy, aren't I? So straps, let's see. I'll leave a little bit of room there for the metal clasp. between. There we go. Yep. Again, a little bit of room there on the metal. This strap's not quite as wide, I don't think, because I need to let the scarf sort of show through there. Okay. Yep. He is done. That's one Viper with all the red parts done. Okay. Number 2. Glove. Being worked on first here. I like all these weapons these guys have too. They look, each one sort of has a different sort of look and feel to it. But I have no idea whether they're actual weapons or not, like how many are like sort of sci-fi lasers and things like that. I know in one of the playthroughs I did, the Vipers were equipped with laser rifles. I don't know if this is a laser rifle that he's holding. Okay. How do I get up there behind that? I'll use this angle here if I can. It's like, let's be honest, I'm not really going to be looking that closely at these guys down the track, am I? Okay. Let's get the top of the fingertips there. And let's get in behind the gun here. Second glove. So we are looking good. After we've done this, there's really just the, what is it, the metallic. That's the major area left. So we've got to do the face mask and the grey for the scarf, and then the base, really. That's, I think, that's where we're at. So we've flown through these guys. I don't know how long we're going with the stream, but made a lot of progress, I think, so that's good. Now, on that last video I did, the last paint stream, unmatched turtle set is top notch. Well, just dipping into unmatched with this one. Same reasons as you. I'll paint unmatched first. Okay, cool. And then Greg says unmatched turtle set is top notch. Oh, that's good. See, now it's good to hear, but it's also not good to hear, because now I'm like, am I going to be tempted? I see it around everywhere. It was all over PlayCon. I did well to avoid it. Characters are very thematic with their abilities. Oh, that sounds good. See, that's what I love about this game too. So it's making me very tempted. Yeah, okay. It's making me very tempted. What was I saying? I can't remember, something about. Oh yeah, the last stream I did earlier today, when I was listening back to it and sort of testing it out, I could hear a little bit of feedback or something, some sort of little, like a very low, as in like a very soft, but you could sort of hear it in the background, like some sort of noise going on there. So let me know if there's any annoying feedback that you guys are hearing on your end, because I'm not hearing any. I didn't hear any during my actual like stream of it, but then when I listened back to it, I could hear it. So if there's anything annoying going on, let me know, and I'll see if I can sort of fix it up. Although chances are, with my level of technology, I'm really not going to be able to figure out how to fix it. But it would be good to know if it is something that you guys are hearing when you're hearing it live. There we go. Strap. I have noticed there's a little bit on this guy's vest. I sort of missed a bit of black on his vest. There we go. All right. All of his red is done. And just got a little bit of red with our friend here. So this guy, I'm going to start with the little canisters or the little grenades or whatever they are. He's got two little red cylinders on the front of his vest here. Oopsie. Now, let's do the strap. All right. Make sure I don't miss any white spots there. Okay. And now the gauntlets. All right, to finish him off. Put his hand on the front of the rifle, whatever type of rifle it is. I'm in the zone here. I've got to remember to keep looking at the the comments, because I feel like if I get too sucked into the painting, I'm going to forget to look up. There we go. All right, try and keep my hands off the patches of red that I've just painted. There we are. Yeah, it is a pretty cool game. I did. I like. There's the brothers Murph, a couple of YouTubers, very very funny guys, very awesome channel, and I love that they have their own set, their own characters for Unmatched, which is really cool. And they're like a joint character, so like you can play as them, and they sort of like act as a pair of characters, and they're very very funny. And one of the guys, I think it was Mike. No, was it? I feel like it wasn't Mike actually. But one of them's done the art for it, and I think the other one did the rules. So maybe Mike did the rules. But yeah, very cool. I don't know if you guys saw that. There we go. They kind of, I don't know, Dan, if you're familiar with these guys, but the Brothers Murph kind of give me the Bondi Hipsters vibes from a few years ago. But like a US version. There we go. Oh, we're getting very close here. Again, just hitting some awkward angles here that are slowing me down, but if I can get past that, this guy's almost done. There we are. Sounds like a ton of homebrew for Unmatched. Oh, really? Well, that actually doesn't surprise me, right? Because it's like one of the reasons I think United is so. I mean, I don't know in the scheme of things how prolific it is compared to other games, but I feel like there's a lot of homebrew content for United, and I think one of the things that's helps that is the fact that it's a fairly easy rule set, right? Most of the cards are like just move, punch, heroic sort of thing. you only need a handful of special rules for each hero or whatever. So, and unmatched sort of seems similar in that, like the scope of different things that are on a card. You've got attack and defense values. They don't have a huge different range of numbers and different abilities and things like that. So yeah, it seems like one that would be a lot of fun to sort of play around with and make your own characters. And again, because it's that you were saying, Greg, with that what was it called, the something alley, what was it called, Pulp Alley, where you can sort of mash in anything you can think of, anything that you're a particular fan of. Like, oh boy, yeah, Unmatched has certainly got that covered, right? So yeah. Have you tried any of the homebrew stuff yourself, Dan? Any of the unmatched homebrew? I think I might have finished this guy. I don't think I can get. Oh, hold on. I can see a big white patch. Just not sure if I can get to any of the other bits that are not done. But let's just try this bit here. There we. Oh gosh. Ooh, yeah, that's all right. Okay, that's about as good as we're going to get there. I haven't even read the rules yet. So Greg might be able to tell us about like how good. Oh, so you've only just got the actual unmatched, like the turtles unmatched. Is that the first set of unmatched you've got, sort of thing? But yeah, but it sounds like Greg is aware of, has played it and is aware of how good it is. But yeah, got to say the production quality is impressive though. Yeah, fancy inserts in each box. Yeah, they are. They're really cool. Although I do see a lot of there's a lot of demand, I think, for sort of dedicated storage sets and things like that, where you replace all those other ones. Because as nice as those fancy ones are, I think in terms of when you have a giant collection of unmatched, like having big boxes with all these nice inserts for just one or two decks per box is probably not great efficiency. So I think they've got these big official sets, as well as people have probably made their own ones and stuff. So, but if the official ones are as nice as the ones that come in the boxes, they'd probably be really cool. I have TMNT and the first co-op box. Yep. Oh, the first, yeah. So that's one with Mothman and that sort of stuff, right? And the Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, She-Hulk. Yeah, it's been in the they all been in the queue. Yeah. You know what's funny? I sort of took the plunge and got into Unmatched because I saw that there was Marvel sets, and I thought, oh yeah, I'd probably like to get into those eventually and stuff. And so I got the original sort of stuff. And then I never ended up. I don't think I've bought a single one of the Marvel sets, even though there's tons of them now, sort of thing. But all the Unmatched that I've got is not. None of it is Marvel, which is really funny. You'd think I'd get heaps of that, but you'll have to let us know how it goes, because they do look really cool. And the art style is so unique, right, as well, which is cool. And I like how each deck is kind of unique in itself. Like there's not really a uniform artist across any of the sets, right? It's kind of like different artists, different characters and stuff. I think that's right. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, so all the red is done. So I think what I'm going to do now is I did notice there was one little bit that I'd like to just touch up with the black. So I'm going to go back to the black and just hit a little bit on the vest of one of these guys just before I forget. So where was that? It was this guy here. Let's just do that. And then I think I'm going to hit the gray. All right, how are we going here? Let's just be careful. All right, cool. That's nothing worse than when you're going back and touching up, and then you make a mistake when you're touching up, then you got to go back and touch up something else, and then you got to it's a vicious cycle. All right, that's good. Lid back there. Careful, don't spill it. All right, Basilicanum Grey. This is the like metallic-y sort of grey. It's not really metallic-y, but I guess it kind of like, when it dries, it kind of like gives the impression, I think, of metallic is, I think, the idea. I don't think it's actually got any metallic stuff in it. All right, now what are we doing here? So we're doing the shin guards and the knee pads. Let's do that. Okay. So go down here. Okay. We'll do the knee guard. Now I've got a bit of blue splashes here, but I'm hoping this is dark enough that I can just kind of cover that up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So, knee pads. Yep, awesome. Shin guard. And nice. That's very cool. We'll call that a day for this. Oh no, hold on. Let's do his little gun handle thing in the holster as well. Let's just get the whole pant leg done. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, did I just paint this? That is already black. I don't remember doing the handle black on this guy. Maybe I must have done his gun handle black. I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, he's done. I don't remember doing that. Huh. I definitely didn't do it on this guy. His handle is still white. I must have just been not paying attention and just sort of kept painting black. All right, so he's done his handle. Let's do his knee pads and his shin guards. All right. Yep. Looking good here. Right. And second knee guard. Spread that out. There you have it. So he's looking pretty good. And last one. And we've pretty much done the lower half of these guys. The pants are all done once I've done this. So I think the trickiest part of all left to go going to be the guns, just in terms of getting around the back and stuff. But luckily, most of the area behind there is pretty dark. So if I do make a couple of mistakes and stuff, it's probably not going to matter too much. So hopefully that won't slow me down too much. All right. Yeah, that's looking good. Nice knee guard there. Okay. Just looking for any little sort of white spots that were showing up that I didn't notice before. It's okay. Gun handle. Pistol grip. There we are. All right, I can see a little white spot there. I'm just going to try and hit that with this so it just fills it up. Aha. All right. Got to go. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for sticking around. I think you'll enjoy them. Easy rule set. So yeah, there you go, Dan. Hope you do get enjoyment out of the game, and maybe I'll eventually get there as well. But daughter wants to watch Bob Ross. Okay. Slightly different style of painting. Yeah, cheers. All right. Well, hope she enjoys Bob Ross. Thanks, Greg. And well, catch you next time. Okay. Let's get the little straps done at the top here. So all the pant legs are done. Now we're just doing the straps on the shoulder. Little clasps on the shoulder straps, I should say. We're doing the, and you know what we'll also do at this time, we'll do the goggles on top of the helmet. Let's get that done. Just be careful not to go overboard with this. Don't want to go onto the blue of the helmet if I can avoid it. Okay. Yes, I think that looks all right. Okay, 1. There we go. 2. Straps. Strap. Okay. Strap on the back here. And on the back here. And yep, that's pretty much done. Just hit that little dot there. Just don't like seeing those little specks of white. And last one. All right, then we just got to do the guns. I've got to be careful because I'm starting to sort of get a bit like, all right, I'm almost done. I'm sort of speeding it up a bit, and just got to be careful with these guns that I don't do anything silly and get paint on any of the big red gloves and stuff like that and wreck those areas. Just got to be a little bit careful here. But we are looking good now with these straps. They're all pretty much done. All right, so let's get these rifles done. I think all the straps are done and the goggles are done. Yep, all right. Let's do it. Let's see. All right, so how am I going to approach this? Let's maybe paint the front of the gun. Maybe approach all the angles. So let's do the front first. Spread that out. Then let's do the top. Okay. Let's do the back. Let's be careful here because the back is sort of going to be a bit tricky to get to. Okay. All right, be careful here. This is where I really don't want to get it. On the front of him where he's got like the little red grenades and stuff. Obviously not worried about the black vest, but yeah. And also just because, you know, when you look down at him from different angles, and you can see into this gun, it's very obvious when there's big white patches of the gun that I'm not reaching, but it's hard to reach those areas. So I'm trying to get as much as I can. Okay, so the back of him, we'll just try and get in here. It's not too bad. All right, now this end of the gun. There we go. And the bottom of the gun. Yep. The back. And the front. Although I think I've sort of ended up hitting most of the front anyway. Right. Yeah, I think that gun is done. All right, he's almost good to go, that guy. All right. Next gun. All right. Well, that seemed all right. So let's go front. Spread the paint all along the front if I can in one big go. All right. Well, I guess the front, which depends on your perspective, I guess, doesn't it? All right, there we go. Now this end. I guess this is the front. All right, the business end. The back here. There we go. Now the underside. Okay. Nice. All right. Make sure I'm looking at it from all the angles. All right, the top. And now, I think we're just looking at the other side of the gun. So again, this is the bit I have to be the most careful with, but the good news is once I've done this, I think he's just about done with his metallic bits. All right, let's make sure I get this from some good, easy to reach angles. Yeah, this guy seems like his gun's a bit more open to reaching with the brush, that he's just holding it slightly out in front of him a little bit more. So hopefully that's making things a bit easier. But it also does mean I can see in behind his gun a lot easier. So if I do miss some bits, it's going to be even more obvious. So I've got to be careful here. I've got to be thorough. Oh yeah, he's really showing off all the white patches. Okay. Oh man, okay. How do I get to that? Oh, here we go. Approach it from another angle. Maybe I can get up behind here. Yeah, that should be all right. What does that look like from here now? Oh, yeah, that's much better. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, he's looking good. That's 2. Final one. Final gun. Here we go. What's the time here? What am I looking at? Oh, 11 o'clock. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, all things considered. Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I say 11 o'clock. It's 6 past 11. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I could spread this out a bit more. He's got quite a lot of paint applied here. Let's make the most of it. We've done one side of the gun. And we've done the... Have we done the back? Let's just get that bit there. Yep. We've done the back angle. Let's do the front. Let's do the underside. Let's do the top. Get down behind those fingers there. All right. And pretty much just this backside. There we go. All right, again, don't mess it up right at the end here. Slow and steady. And then I think, yeah, as much as I can, I'm going to have to go from a different angle here. Up behind the arms. Yeah, okay. How much coverage have we got there? It's just a little bit of white I'd like to get. I think I can get in there. There we go. All right. Yeah, very cool. All right, so that's all of the metallic parts done. I'll get myself a new tissue here just to help wipe the brush off there. Okay, let's close that down. Give you guys a look. Let's put this back over here where we're at. So we've done the... Let's see if we can get that to focus. Yeah, done the metallic-y bits on the gun there, or the little straps on the front of the boots and stuff. So now I'm going to hit the front of these visors with an actual metallic. My goodness, we're going to use an actual paint here. So let's try that off. Let's try Runefang Steel, I think it is. I kind of forgotten exactly what I did here. I'm pretty sure I did this Runefang Steel. Now I will water this down a little bit over the front of the visors, and then I think when I watered down the grey to hit the scarves, I think I used that watered down grey just to line the borders of this faceplate, just to give it a little bit more definition, because it is quite light. I think that just helps it pop a little bit more. All right, let's get it up under the chin there. Okay, so again, if I can get that to focus, just a little bit of light silverish color there. Let's get that happening. And that's done. Awesome. And finally, Viper number 3, contestant number 3. There he is. So that silver is done. Give that a little bit of time to dry, hopefully. I'll now mix up. Yeah, okay, let's do the... You know what I'll do, actually? Let's do their bases. That'll give more time for that silver to dry, and then I'll mix up the grey and the the grey wash sort of thing for the scarves, and then I can apply that on the silver. So let's do this. I think it's called Skeleton Horde. So this is going to be the color we use for sort of like the sandy texture. Well, not texture, but sandy color for the bases. It'll end up looking like that sort of color there. So let's do this. Is there anything else we've got to paint on them? Oh, I can see oh, man, it's funny, like when the all starts to dry, you can kind of see the white spots that show up, but I can always touch them up. That's fine. All right, so go across the top of the base here with this sandy color. Again, so quick. And what's really nice about these Operation Cobra models is they do have a very simple texture on them. So they've got like a little bit of stonework and pavement. So you've already got a little bit of texture there for yourself. And then, you know, a little wash or something like this, you can pick that out and, you know, that stands out and it's all done in a matter of seconds. And if you want to paint it up and make it, you know, highlight it properly and that sort of thing, you can as well, but it just gives you something a little bit nicer there. And, you know, the people who love getting into the sculpting and the basing and stuff like that can always add, you know, because it's not, it's very sort of flat. There's not a lot of stuff going on there. So if you want to do your own thing with the bases too, you know, you've got plenty of scope to completely do your own thing as well. Put little tufts of flock and things like that on there as well. Plenty of scope for sort of putting your own little stones and bits and pieces on there as well. All right, that is another one. Yeah, I took a bit of a gamble. I wasn't really sure what brownish sort of color to use for the bases, and I ended up picking this Skeleton Horde, and quite happy with it actually because it's nice and light, so it kind of doesn't, so it's not too dark, not too, it's also not too light. So it just helps the models themselves stand out, you know, helps their colors pop a little bit more because the base itself isn't too extreme. Speaking of extreme, I don't know if you caught that, but I did almost knock the paint pot over with my forearm there. So that's now a second near miss. You have to be careful. I just know at some point I'm going to knock one of these over. I've had so many near misses already that it's going to happen, right? You have to be vigilant. Pop, 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 boom. All right, here we go. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. I'm not quite done yet, but hope it's been pleasant for you. If you're a painter, yeah, like Greg was saying, you know, if you've got a little project you got going on or something like that and you just need something going on in the background, that's hopefully what these videos can be useful for. I sort of like, sometimes I do, you know, unboxings or playthroughs and things like that, and I'm like, are these really entertaining? Would anyone really want to sit down and watch anything like this? Number one, I recommend speeding myself up. You know, you do that 1.25 or 1.5 playback speed or whatever. But the other thing is, yeah, you know, sometimes it's just nice to have some background noise, which is why I always like to try and give my thought process when I'm playing a game and that sort of thing. And so that's looking good. All right, so 3 bases all done. So now, okay, now this is where it's going to get tricky. Can I recreate the same? Here he is. This is the dude. All right, can I recreate that same grayish look there? All right, so what did I do? I think I just really watered down a gray. So where's this gray color? It was, so this is Mechanicus Standard Grey. Now I've got these old Citadel paints. I don't like, I've got a feeling that some of these colors don't exist anymore. So if you went to try and get it, Clara is distressed by the brush licking. Yeah, sorry. I don't actually know if that's anything like, do people actually do that? I've always done it since my days working at Games Workshop, like just to get the tip of the brush, like just as a quick way to like get it back to a fine point sort of thing. And yeah, it's just paint water tastes great. I'm hoping I'm just getting little small trace amounts of it. All right, so it's funny. I'm not doing it because I'm using these paints. But the other thing is when I was painting a lot, you know, you use your wash, you know, you dry your brush, wash your brush out, dry your brush on the tissue and stuff. But often, like if I didn't have a tissue around, or the other thing is like, especially, I think it was with dry brushing, especially, I would be brushing. I'd be using this part of my hand, and I'd brush the bristles along there to sort of see how dry the brush was, sort of thing. But I'd have paint, so I'd end up with like paint all along my hand here. I'd be walking out on the street and stuff, and like people would be looking at me like, why is your hand all like painted all these gross colors and stuff? Yeah, lots of people do it. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's not just me. If you ever read a book called Radium Girls, You'll Never Lick a... Oh no, don't don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I've worked in too many classrooms with like mold and all sorts of things that I just don't want to know about that sort of stuff. Like, put that sort of stuff off to the future. All right, let's have a look here. Mechanicus Standard. I've sort of got distracted there. Now, the thing is, I've opened this up and then it's looking pretty gross, but I think I remember this one was pretty gross, so I just have to take a bit out. There we go, and just really try and water it down. So apologies, there's going to be more licking and stuff going on here, I think. All right, never thought I'd be saying that on stream. All right, so let's just really water this. Now, I can't remember how watery I made it. All right, well, let's give a bit more water. I think I wanted it pretty watery, like a wash. All right, well, let's try this. All right. So, and just in this gray area. Oh, yeah, that's all right. Just give it a bit of definition for this scarf. And yeah, this is pretty much the same color I'm using to do the gray on the Techno Vipers as well. They have sort of like gray sleeves and pant legs and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm going to do with that. All right, that's looking good. And then I'll just line the visor. Pretty sure this is what I used to line the visor with. There we go. Well, that is one guy. Oh, I was going to say complete, but he's not quite complete because I've got to do the rim on the base, so just got to try and make sure I'm consistent with this gray. Okay. There we go. All right, that's looking good. Sort of good. Yep. Let's hit that area there. Just get it before it dries out, right? Bit grey along the top here. I think I might try and make that a little bit darker. There we go. Okay. Viper number 2. And the last one, for the grey at least. Let's get that in there. Okay. Again, just outlining the helmet visor, and we are pretty much done. All right, that's all the colors. And now we just have to grab that Black Legion. So back to the contrast paints, and I don't think I had to use any white scar to touch anything up. I think we've done pretty well there. All right, yeah, okay. Just don't speak too soon. I'll knock a paint pot over here. All right, there we go. Careful, steady. All right. Also, I've got to be careful not to like scratch the paint off the tops of their heads while I'm holding them here. All right, here we go. All right, painting the side of the base. I probably should use like Chaos Black for this, right? But this seems to work all right. Well, I'm pretty stoked with this. This is pretty cool. Like to have a whole squad of Vipers and a whole squad of Cobra Troopers done within the first couple of weeks of having this this game is pretty cool. And thank you guys for watching and stuff, because that's kind of given me the inspiration to do this, right? You know, like I don't know if I would, even with these army paints, I don't know if I would, you know, commit to finding the time to paint them if I wasn't doing this as a bit of a fun thing to sort of do it for others to watch, you know, do it for something for you, to make something for the community out there. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for stopping by and watching, and especially joining in the comments and asking questions and that sort of stuff as well. It sort of helps make it fun for me, and yeah, you know, a bit of community building and that sort of thing as well. So very fun. All right, I've got what have we got there? What's it say there? 11:24. Okay, so about 11:30-ish we'll finish up, I guess, if I don't waffle too much at the end. So that's pretty good. I can't remember when I started, if it was about 9 or something. Or maybe 9. Yeah, I think it was about 9. Okay, so that's, yeah. I don't know, 3 models. Maybe I'll go 2 if I'm doing the troopers. And then maybe I'll get to a stage where if I'm doing the Joes, because I kind of like doing just one Joe at a time, but if I can do 2 Cobra troopers or 2 this or that, I guess 2 Joes is not bad for a stream as well. Oh gosh, I put too much black on there. Oh well. Yeah, I think what I'll try and do is I've done Quick Kick and I'm about to do Stalker. And they happen to be 2 of the last characters I did for G.I. Joe United. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably paint up Jinx, because that's another character I did recently, and Spirit. And then I can use those painted models when I play a G.I. Joe United, my final sort of homebrew showcase, showing off the Crimson Twins, Tomax and Zamote. So that'll be fun. So that's probably who I'll be painting up next, I think, in terms of Joe heroes. And then maybe if I do some Cobra baddies, maybe that's who I'll do as the first characters, the Crimson Twins. So that'll be fun. Now let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, and 1 more. All right, the final base. We're on the final stretch here. I think I mentioned it before, but the Crimson Twins in G.I. Joe United have not been designed by me. The models were made a while ago by Big Head Chibis, and I could never really think of, had some vague ideas for what I wanted to do with them as as a villain mission sort of thing, but I just couldn't quite put it together. And so I asked Nelly, who has, if you're not familiar with Nelly, he makes fantastic homebrew stuff for United, but not just for Marvel United, but like Naruto, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Castlevania, Pathfinder, Sentinels of the Sentinels of the Multiverse, and Overwatch, and that Flesh and Blood card game. So many different worlds that he makes characters for, and they're all so fun. And I enjoy sort of hanging out with him and play testing both his and my designs, along with like Dave Amarasinger and others in the homebrew community there. Yeah, we make some fun stuff and have a good time sort of like play testing it with each other and stuff. And so I asked him if he would like to make design for those guys as like a celebration of the kind of closing up of the United, G.I. Joe United range, at least for now, at least all the models that Big Head Chibis have made. And yeah, he very graciously said yes, and so they're a really cool design. So I'm looking forward to showing them off because they're very cool. I dare say they're probably the the best villain design of the bunch because they're made by him. But yeah, they're very cool fight. Quite challenging too. I don't think I've got a very good record against them. Here we go. But they were a lot of fun to test with Nelly. All right, I think that's all done. So let's, before I forget, I don't want to forget to put the paint lid on there. You can tell, Clara, it's all safe now. I've finished painting, so no, there won't be any more licking of brushes and things like that. G'day, KC Snipes. Yo, Joe. Well, yo, Cobra at the moment because we just finished painting some Cobra Vipers. But I did, if you want to go back, I filmed a little a shorter paint stream earlier today where I painted my first Joe, and that was Quick Kick. So he was very cool. I'm looking forward to getting more done. So I think Stalker will be the next one. But there you go, guys. That is a Cobra Viper all done. Let's see if I can get that. Is that going to focus? Focus. I can't coordinate my hands. There we go. Let's see. It's almost wanting to focus. Am I too close maybe? Oh man, that's so frustrating. I need to work out how to do this properly. But anyway, you can kind of get the idea. And that is, there we go. Finally, there we go. So that's the full model done up. So that is a full squad of 8 of them, I think. 8 of these Cobra Vipers all done with contrast paints. So yeah, very fun way to get these done. So if you've got Operation Cobra, if you enjoy your painting and that sort of stuff, or you want to sort of get into painting but you've been a bit scared of it, these allow you to get it done very quickly and quite easily too. You just sort of splash it on the big areas and it all sort of pulls in the right recesses and stuff. And Clara saying, if you ever read, oh no, hold on, I didn't see that. That was actually Clara that said, if you ever read a book called Radium Girl. So yeah, okay, yeah, so yeah. I don't want to know about it. So that's very cool. But yeah, excellent. They're all finished. So that is cool. So yeah, like I said, we've done the Cobra Troopers now. We had a paint stream last week with the with the Cobra Troopers. We've done the Vipers now. We've got Quick Kick done. And yeah, so maybe next weekend I'll pull out the Techno Vipers because I've done a play or a test painting of one of those. So I think I'm probably ready. Maybe during the week I'll try and sort of paint up the majority of the squad and leave a couple for a stream next weekend. And I'll also try and get a Joe done, maybe Stalker. And yeah, we're well on our way. So that's pretty cool. And Radium Girls were the ones painting little glow-in-the-dark lines on the watches. Oh no, and getting quite sick. My goodness. Okay. Okay, so the glow-in-the-dark lines on the watches, is that so like the like actual just watches that used to have that glow-in-the-dark thing? That was actually someone's job, was just like go through and do that. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm hoping these I'm hoping these little paints are safe. They do say, what are they? I'm not sure what actual ingredients are in them, but anyway. I'll try to avoid downing too much of it, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed painting these guys up. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the stream, and I'll probably be trying to be back. I don't know if I'll see if this sort of time sort of seems to work. Maybe like a Sunday evening here in Oz, and maybe at some point in the middle of the day on a Sunday. I have to sort of work it out because seeing what the routine of the kids and that sort of stuff. Some of the other things we do here, different people's sort of like activities and stuff that we do, some different martial arts and stuff the kids are getting into and stuff. So, but if we can work out a relatively regular time, I can do this. That'll probably be pretty handy for you guys, so you know where to look out for them and that sort of thing as well. So, yeah. So Operation Cobra is rolling on, and yeah, next gameplay video, I'm not sure if I'm going to do Marvel United or G.I. Joe Operation Cobra, but yeah, keep an eye out. I'll probably try and do those on a Friday and sort of get them out on a Saturday here in Oz, like published and stuff. So, but obviously we'll have to see how things go in the next few weeks with the school term and as it ramps up and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, but this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure as always. Hope you guys are enjoying your hobby, whether it's gaming, painting, whatever it might be, and having fun. They put the paintbrush in their mouth so they get the point after the. Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty much what I was doing, getting the point on the brush. But hopefully I'm not doing it with radium. Not good to eat radium. Yeah, okay. Well, you never know, right? Like it's like, oh, these will be fine, and then you find out years later that Games Workshop were putting all sorts of things in them. But yeah, it should be all right. But yeah, very very cool. Well, anyway, but thank you guys. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you guys are enjoying your hobby, no matter what it is, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, Meeple Monkey out. See ya. Yo, Joe. Or Cobra. See you guys.